If you look up abdominal training online, you will almost certainly find yourself guided toward endless, fast-paced circuits. These 10-minute burnout routines leave you sweating, but they rarely produce a visible six-pack. That is because these movements lack the resistance required to build meaningful muscle tissue. You are effectively performing a specialized form of cardio. Building a defined midsection relies on two specific biological requirements. First, you need thick abdominal muscle tissue. Second, you must reach a body fat percentage low enough to allow that tissue to show through the skin. If you skip either step, the muscle remains hidden. This dual spectrum scale maps out the exact target zones you need to reach. For men, the visibility sweet spot sits strictly between 10 and 20% body fat. For women, that target range shifts slightly higher, resting between 18 and 28%. Hitting these zones reveals the abdominal wall without subjecting your body to the harsh side effects of extreme competitive dieting. Getting into your specific zone requires a precise approach. Over the next 60 days, we are going to build a personalized action plan that strictly defines your daily nutrition and scales up your abdominal training. Achieving an aesthetic core does not require sweating through endless daily crunches. By treating your midsection with exact mathematical and physiological precision, you guarantee the results. Step 1 is establishing your nutritional math. This formula dictates your absolute daily calorie ceiling. Take your current body weight in pounds and multiply that number by 10 to 12. That total is your daily calorie limit. Next, calculate your protein requirement. Take your goal body weight in pounds and multiply it by 0.8 to 1. That gives you the exact grams of protein you must consume every day to maintain muscle mass while you diet. With your calories and protein locked in, the rest of your daily intake is flexible. You must consume at least 50 grams of fat per day for baseline hormonal health. Beyond that minimum, the remaining calories can be filled with any ratio of carbohydrates and fats you prefer. To confirm your math is accurate, monitor your rate of weight loss. A sustainable, effective deficit will result in dropping 0.5 to 1% of your total body weight each week. Hitting these exact targets removes the emotion from dieting. Once the equations are set, stripping away the layer of fat covering your abs becomes a strict mathematical certainty. While the kitchen handles the fat loss, the gym handles the architecture. Standard body weight routines fail because they lack progressive overload. To force the abdominal muscles to grow thicker, you must load them with increasingly heavy weight, exactly as you would train your biceps or chest. You only need two specific movements, performed twice a week. The first is the weighted cable crunch, which forces the upper and mid-abdominals to contract under heavy tension. The mechanics matter here. As you kneel down and pull the rope, actively allow your lower back to round. Squeeze your core aggressively to move the weight, and strictly avoid yanking the cable down with your arms. Perform these cable crunches for 3 sets of 10 to 12 reps. The final set must be taken to absolute muscular failure, meaning you cannot physically complete another full repetition despite maximum effort. To target the lower portion of the core, add your second mandatory exercise, the Roman chair leg raise. Hanging leg raises work as well, but the Roman chair keeps your back locked securely in place. If straight legs are too difficult, start with bent knees. Do 3 sets of 10 to 20 reps. Progressively add 1 rep each week. Once you can comfortably hit 3 sets of 20, straighten your legs or add ankle weights to keep the tension high. Limiting your routine to these 2 heavily loaded, progressive movements builds dense abdominal tissue. When the top layer of fat is finally stripped away by your diet, these deep ridges are what physically protrude to form a visible six-pack. Sustaining a caloric deficit for months at a time induces metabolic fatigue. Over time, extreme restriction crashes your energy levels and triggers intense hunger, often leading to a binge-eating rebound where all the lost weight returns. If you have a significant amount of weight to drop and expect your diet to last longer than 3 continuous months, you need to schedule a diet break. This serves as a biological reset. This line graph maps out the protocol. Somewhere near the middle of your timeline, take 2 to 3 weeks to eat at temporary maintenance levels. Multiply your current body weight by 16 to 18 to find your diet break calories. This brief pause restores your metabolism before you return to the deficit. You can also widen your daily deficit without cutting your food further. Adding 2 to 5 moderate, 30-minute cardio sessions per week burns extra calories, allowing you to eat slightly more while staying firmly on target. As you track your progress, avoid relying entirely on the bathroom scale. The number on the display often stalls or fluctuates wildly, entirely masking your fat loss if you are simultaneously building muscle tissue through heavy training. Instead, capture true data. Take progress photos in the exact same lighting at least once a month, and use a tape measure to track the actual circumference of your waist. Combining a scheduled diet break with visual and physical measurements prevents the psychological burnout and false data that derail most fat loss attempts. There are 3 specific supplements that actually accelerate this process. First, 5 grams of creatine monohydrate per day reliably increases core strength and muscle mass. Contrary to popular belief, it will not cause watery bloating over your abs. Second, caffeine. Whether from a pill, coffee, or pre-workout, it provides a minor thermogenic calorie burn, but more importantly, it sharpens your mental focus so you can push closer to failure on your heavy lifts. Third, protein powder acts as an efficient logistical tool for meeting your nutrition targets. A single post-workout shake allows you to hit the daily protein math you calculated in step 1 without needing to prepare another whole food meal. None of these supplements can replace the required caloric deficit or progressive overload. But deployed correctly, they reduce the friction of the process, making the daily demands of the next 60 days much easier to execute. Your blueprint is now complete. You have a calculated daily macronutrient ceiling, a 2-exercise progressive hypertrophy routine, and a scheduled diet break to protect your metabolism. Take these directives into the gym. Lock in the biomechanics of the cable crunch and the leg raise, and focus entirely on safely adding weight and reps week over week. Immediately capture your day 1 benchmark photo. This establishes your baseline visual tracking data. The science is settled and the equations are set. Moving from a hidden midsection to a highly visible six-pack now relies entirely on your capacity for 60 days of relentless, disciplined execution.